Hey, how's it going? Doing the thing. Welcome to another episode of Full Blast. I am Raja, and today we're starting a new little mini series. This one is not going to be super long. It's going to be a total of 4 videos, but I am an IJ, and I like structure, and I like rules. And as fun as it is to just like show up and talk about whatever the fuck I want, I like rules. I like structure. I like a plan. I like things I can check off a list. What are you gonna do? Okay, so this is called the Versus series, and the reason that I wanted to do it. Sorry, I got some water over here. The reason that I wanted to do it is because we talk a lot about binary coins. Binary coins are super goddamn important. But there is another facet to objective personality and being able to type somebody, being able to identify somebody. And that's looking at 2 animals that share a common function, right? And depending on how a given person is doubling up on those things, then you're going to see like, well, what's really going on here with this person, right? So in today's episode, we're talking about blast versus play, and I figured that this is a good place to start, just because these are, when blast and play get together, it is just a freight train of energy, of just extroverted, punch everybody in the face kind of energy. What's up, Kevin? How you doing? And even more so than play consume, which we'll do next. But like blast play in particular, one thing that they talked about in my video, they talk about in a lot of the videos, is that blast and play next to each other dominates the outside world. Whether you're an EJ or an IJ, or honestly even an EP, right? If you're like play then blast, if you're like a Glass Lizard, Andy Samberg type, then you're just gonna be hammering on the outside world, specifically the tribe members, all the time. That's your default wire. It's why, I've been doing this video series for like a couple of months, and we've done 30. This is the 30th video. It's because my blast play is just like, let's fucking knock it out. Let's crank it out. And that's just what blast play does. Just to give one other example of what like blast play crackhead energy looks like, in a setting that you might not necessarily think of it in. Because obviously we see the like, big swinging dick business guy, right? He comes into the office and he's just like hammering on everybody, and he's like meetings here and meetings there, and like doing a lot of coke in the bathroom, and then it's like, yeah, I got a business lunch, and then I got some sales calls to make, and then I'm going out to do this, and like I'm just crushing it. I'm doing all the things, right? Gary Vee style. But it can also manifest in a couple of other ways. The other way that I am thinking of in particular is I recorded a couple of songs for a friend as a wedding present, right? And on the second day, the way that you record anything at a professional level is you record a guide track, and then you record chunks of the song as you move through the song, right? So I'm trying to think of like a really, really popular song. All right, I'm just going to use Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I would never do it this way, but it's the only example I can think of that's this ubiquitous, right? So what I would do is you go into the recording studio, you do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in one take. Does not have to be good, doesn't have to be perfect. You just get the vocal and the guitar and you're doing it, right? Then you go back and you record just the guitar. And here's where you break down. You can do it sort of seamlessly or not, but you want to just do sort of a chunk at a time, right? Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Stop. Go back. You listen to it. You can re-record it. You can move on, whatever. And if you have a producer, then he or she will be telling you, yeah, this is good. We can move it on. Like we can work with this, right? So I was in this session, and it was on the second day, and the plan was just to get the vocals, is what it was. It was like, we're going to do the vocals, and then we're going to get, then we're going to do some mixing, right? Because we had already recorded the guitar part from the day before. Well, I listened to it the night before, and I was like, we can do better. And we got in there, and I was like, all right, here's what's going to happen. I know that I can knock out these vocals in like 15 minutes. That's not the issue. Let's get the guitar part right. Like, let's really do it right. And I went in that booth, and for half an hour, we did 30 minutes of work, me and the engineer, in 31 minutes. It was the most efficiently I've ever worked in my life, probably. I don't want to say for sure, but it felt like, and again, this guy, he is as pro as it gets. Like, I'm talking about, and I didn't like pick this guy. This was the guy that the studio gave me. Was literally the guy who recorded Camila Cabello's vocals on Havana. Like, that was him pushing the buttons, doing the thing. Fucking mind-blowing, right? But I bring that up specifically because this dude is no bullshit. And even though he's a little more on the sleep consume side of the spectrum, his level of professionalism and his ability to match my blast play, I've never worked with anybody who could actually match me like that. And we just fucking hammered it out. It was crazy. We did it. Like, once we got like halfway-ish through the session, he was able to anticipate. He's like, I heard a dead note. I think he's going to hear that dead note too. I'm going to already back it up, be ready to back it up in my mind, because he's going to want to redo that. There was no friction, and it was just us blast playing off of each other, and it was crazy. It was crazy because it was just like there was a little consume sleep in there, but not a lot. The bare minimum of consuming and sleeping. And it was me being like, I play a little lick, I'd just stop, and I'd say, go back. He'd go back. He'd pick it up. We agreed beforehand that I was always going to get 2 measures of an intro. And we just like did it. And I'd be like, go back, do it again. Let me hear that back. Listen through it. Let me pick it up again from the same spot. Boom. All right, that's the take. I like it. Let's move on. We just did that for half an hour. But I illustrate this. I bring up this anecdote because it's such an illustration to me of what blast and play together feel like. And I think that that's where a lot of the confusion comes between what blasting is and what playing is because we so often see them lumped together for no real reason, that it can be hard to distinguish them, but I think it's an important distinction. So I am, even though I'm an IJ, I'm blast, then play, and doubling up on my play. So I am as cranked up as it can get. And in fact, in strict Myers-Briggs land, there's no way you could call me an introvert. Like, not a chance. But I'm coming at it from the blaster angle. And the difference between blast and play, unsurprisingly, it just comes down to that other coin, right? The other coin of OI versus OE. But when paired with DE, there's a little bit of nuance to it, right? So I don't know that he's my favorite blaster, because, Oprah, is a blaster. Michelle Obama's a blaster. But man, maybe my favorite blaster. But Brene Brown's also a blaster. I'm talking about Russell Brand. Fucking love Russell Brand. Oh, Russell Brand is my boy. And he, like me, blast, play, consume, sleep, last. So he's cranked up, but he's leading with the blast. And if you listen to his interviews and if you watch his stand-up specials and you hear him talk on interviews, there's a really, really, really clear through line in everything that he does. He is not all over the map at all, even though his NI is feminine, right? And his SE is maybe more masculine than mine, which is wild, given how goddamn masculine my extroverted sensory is. But you're gonna be like, well, he's, kind of all over the place, kind of chaotic, but like, not really. He is always going to be able to bring it back and hit home to the point that he was making. Now, he does this on the fly. So again, this is something that he and I have in common. One thing that he and I will do is we will often accidentally find ourselves on a tangent. That's a thing that will happen because of our double activated play and our double activated OE. We're just going to fucking go on tangents sometimes. That's a thing that's going to happen. The difference is, and I do this a lot, so on my personal page and on Instagram, I'll do these like half-hour sort of like preacher blasty lessons, I guess, just sort of me talking about what's on my mind and sort of giving comfort and, emotional salve to those in need of it at this trying time. And one thing that I find that I do that Russell does a lot is we'll just be like, oh shit, we're talking about something that I did not mean to be talking about. And then my blast will cover for it'll rescue my OE. And what it'll do is it will throw in the reason that I bring all of that up is. Now, really what I am doing is I'm covering my own ass and I'm covering up my own demons of like, oh, fuck, we just went into like wackadoo OE land that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. You're supposed to be blasting about a specific thing, stay on topic. And so my NI, because it is so feminine, can be like, that's cool, bro. I got you. I'll rein you back in. And then it ends up feeling really satisfying. And like I wove some magical fucking analogy tapestry. No, I didn't. I promise you I didn't. All that happened was that I got lost and my OE wanted to do a thing. And now my OI that's attached to my TE is like, oh, fuck. Okay, well, how can we... All right, we can cobble this together and we can sort of weave it. Yeah, sure, this is fine. Present for you all, tribe. Right? And that's what Blast is doing all the time. It is always keeping people on track. Keeping everybody on track, yourself included. I got to stay on track. You got to stay on track. It walks into a room with the assumption that we're all here to do a job. We all know what that job is. It's all very centralized. It's very like the task is clear. We just got to do the thing. And our only enemy is that goddamn OE that wants to do whatever random new thing he thinks is interesting right now. Right? So that's what Blast is trying to do. It's all about the tribe validation, for sure, 100%, but it's getting tribe validation through organizing, right? It is telling the tribe what to do and making sure, right? It's like herding cattle, right? It's like you're a cowpoke back in the day, late 1800s, and you got to rustle up some cattle, and sometimes one is sort of straying that way, and you gotta ride and rope it around, and you got the sheepdog doing the same thing with the sheep, and it's just sort of generally herding the people towards the corral, and moving from pasture to pasture, doing the things, right? That's Blast, right? It is organizing the tribe, right? It's getting the tribe to be on your side, to get the validation from them, to have them tell you how awesome you are, helping them, whatever it is, through better organization. Play, on the other hand, does not give a fuck about organizing. Like, not even a little bit. And it's why when Blast and Play get together, they like tell you what to do and commune with you by just being super organized and just telling you what to do. But if that fails, the next item in my arsenal is Play. So it's like, okay, well, if I can't get your attention through organization, maybe I can get your attention through chaos. Now you paying attention to me, right? That's the other side of this Blast Play coin. But Play wants to do it very differently. Whereas Blast is like, I sort of think of my time back when I was doing tutoring, right? Like SAT, ACT, test prep, whatever tutoring. I do not believe that I was a glorified babysitter because of the ages of the people that I worked with. These humans were old enough and smart enough that they could have taken care of themselves. But my job was very, very much to like keep the people on track, right? It was, look, I know you want to talk about Moana. I want to talk about Moana too. We have to finish this math section before we talk about Moana. I promise we'll get to Moana, but like, we got to do these math problems first. They're like, fine. Then they do the math problems. We do it. They're like, okay, so let's talk about Moana, right? And it's so much about like keeping with a little bit of flexibility. Again, my OI is feminine. We can be swooshy. It's all good, but it's keeping them in line. And having that validation from them coming because I kept them in line. They're like, man, that felt really productive. Like, we got a lot done. Thank you for keeping me on track. And I'm like, you're welcome. And it's great, right? Plays the opposite. I have a friend, God bless her. I genuinely have no idea what type she is. Not a clue. Not one clue. But I do know that she has a lot of play energy. In addition to a lot of blast, like, she is a perfectly adept blaster. But she's got a lot of play. And her approach is like, look, we're going to do the minimum amount of work and chores that we have to, because what's actually going to get the results that we want is just being people in the room and like talking about Harry Potter or playing with the dog. And it's wild. The first time that I, like, when I'm in sessions, like playing with the puppy for like a lot of it and just talking about Harry Potter as much as she wants, my initial reaction was to be horrified. And then I went into this girl's file and she had jumped like 10 ACT points and was in like the 97th percentile now. And I'm like, okay, so clearly, and then what we ended up deciding as a company was like, she just gets to do whatever the fuck she wants. We don't care. Because the families love her, the kids love her, she makes us a ton of money, and the scores move. Like, whatever she's doing is working, have at it. But it's such a different approach to the approach that I take, which is way more organized. And it's, again, we are still both super duper junkies for external validation. Just nuts about it. Just nuts. But her default way of doing that and of getting the tribe on board with her is not through repeated bits. The only reason that she and I now have repeated bits that we do with each other, right? We'll send like very, very specific, like she only sends me not just Brooklyn Nine-Nine texts, but she'll send me like Gina Linetti Brooklyn Nine-Nine texts, right? That is wildly aberrant for her. That only comes after years and years of friendship, because her default mode is like, let's just play, like, let's just, oh, well, this is boring to you? Great, let's find something else. Ooh, okay, ooh, there's a shiny thing. Let's try and play with that. And let's try and play with that. Are you having fun playing with me and, you know, doing all these new fun things that I'm coming up with for us to do together? And here's what I sort of want to leave it on. They are both extraordinarily effective at getting the tribe on board. They just are. You have to do the right amount of sleeping and consuming. You got to read the room. But as far as like, what's the optimal way to get the validation from the tribe and to connect with the other people, both are equally effective in the abstract. Now, I leaned more on my blast because I just liked it more. I felt more comfortable doing it. My lead function is OI, so blasting, you know, doing play. Yes, it's a savior function. Yes, it's doubling up, but it's also using my last function, and I'm like, I don't know, right? But it does not mean that I am a better tutor than her. If we are judging by the metric of customer satisfaction, revenue, and, you know, objective success of the student and improvement, like, both are equally effective. And same with like our social lives. It's, well, so she's better at the social thing than I am by like a lot, because she is a single decider and can just play that single decider game all goddamn day. But, you know, both work. It just is, it's a matter of being able to go, okay, what's right for this situation? What's right for this relationship? What's right for this moment? And if your goal is to, if you're like, I know that I need the DE, whether it's TE or FE, I know that like tribe validation, connecting with other people, getting them on board, we're all in this together, like that vibe, okay, great. And now it's just a matter of going, okay, am I gonna get that more effectively, more easily by leaning on my OI and trying to wrangle everybody and sort of get everybody very much on the same page? Or is it gonna be more effective in the moment to find something new for all of us to connect with and exploring the novelty of this new shiny toy? That's it. That's the only difference. All right. That's all I got for today. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. If there's anything you want me to go into more detail about, I would be happy to in future videos. Until then, if you want to join us on the Facebook group, the unofficial Objective Personality Study group on Facebook, I'm there all the time. A lot of fun community over there, so definitely come check us out. And I will talk to you guys later. I'm excited about continuing this series. All right, bye.